Welcome to RPGX. Today we're counting down our picks for the best ARPGs that you should check out, and without further ado, let's dive right in. Path of Exile 2. Now, this one is still in early access, but it already feels like a completely different beast compared to the first game. It's not here to replace the first game, since it's clearly aiming at a slightly different crowd. The pacing's tighter, the animations are cleaner, and the combat feels way more grounded. So, yeah, it's still deep, still brutal, and still packed with layers of mechanics to obsess over, but this time it's less overwhelming out the gate. Simply put, hardcore veterans can stick to PoE 1, but everyone else? This might be the version that doesn't melt your brain.
Your fate is
Sulfur!
A demon.
We can't handle it. We need to get back to the purifier.
Wolcen, Lords of Mayhem. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this game had a rough ride. The online servers shut down recently, and the community was kinda pissed, but now that the dust has settled, it has quietly become a hidden gem for single-player ARPG fans. No more lag, no more broken servers, just a fun offline experience with gorgeous visuals and flashy combat. And obviously, don't expect this game to be on the same level as the big boys like Grim Dawn or PoE. But if you're looking for a solid ARPG that works offline and looks damn good, this one's worth a try. Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance. Now, this game is old, like early 2000s old, but it still holds up surprisingly well. It's simple, fast-paced, and honestly just pure fun. No bloated systems, no skill trees that look like spiderwebs, just hack, slash, loot, and repeat. And the best part? It's now available on all modern platforms, fully updated with widescreen support. You can even drag a friend in for couch co-op session, assuming you have one, of course. So yeah, if you want a simple ARPG that just lets you chill and bash heads, this one and its sequel are absolute must-plays. No Rest for the Wicked. Now, this one isn't your usual click-and-loot ARPG. It actually mixes Souls-like combat with Diablo-style gear grinding, and it's a weird combo that actually works if you know what you're getting into. The pace is slower, the hits are heavier, and dodging matters just as much as stats, and obviously button mashing will get you bodied real quick. But once it clicks, the combat feels deliberate and satisfying. So yeah, don't expect instant dopamine, this one makes you earn it. But if you're down for a challenge with some style, it's absolutely worth the pain. Sacred 2, Fallen Angel. Alright, if you're into that Diablo II clone era, this one scratches all the right itches. Sacred 2 throws loot at you like candy, and half the fun is just organizing it into your inventory while figuring out how it fits your janky, overpowered build. The classes are weird, the builds are deep, and the bosses wildly varied and surprisingly fun to fight. And even when you're just grinding in circles, it somehow feels like progress. But beware, the game is pretty clunky. Luckily, there's a community-made patch that makes it a lot better. Warhammer 40k, Inquisitor, Martyr. Now, this isn't your typical ARPG where you charge in, spam skills, and wipe the screen. This one leans tactical. You've got to think, use choke points, break line of sight, and actually make use of cover. Charge in like a maniac, and you'll just get deleted. And each weapon has its own set of abilities, kind of like Victor Vran, so your playstyle completely changes depending on your loadout. That adds a surprising amount of depth to every encounter. So if you're looking for a slower, smarter ARPG with some serious 40k flavor, then this is the one. Titan Quest 2. Okay, now this game just dropped in early access and it's still cooking. But what's here already feels great. It plays exactly like the original. Same pacing, same vibe, same crunchy combat, but with a few solid upgrades to the mastery and character systems. And yeah, it doesn't have as many mastery combos yet, but that's the whole point of early access. It's a slow burn, and right now, the price is only 40% of what the full game will cost. So if you loved the original, you might want to check this one out. Titan Quest. Now, this one's a classic, and yeah, it shows its age. Compared to modern ARPGs, Titan Quest feels a bit clunky. The movement is stiff, the combat is slower, and the UI isn't exactly snappy. But once you settle in, the game actually starts to shine. And the mythological setting is still one of the best in the genre. You're not just hacking through random dungeons, you're fighting hydras, gorgons, and undead pharaohs across ancient Greece, Egypt, and Asia. So yeah, if you can handle that old school feel, this game still delivers a unique experience. Victor Vran. Alright, this game is a bit of an oddball in the ARPG world, but in a good way. It's less gear focused than your typical loot fest, with a crafting system that makes it pretty easy to get what you need. Rare weapons do exist, however, and you can grind for them, but overall the game leans more casual friendly. The build variety isn't huge either, but the game makes up for it with fast-paced combat and a slick gothic vibe. It's stylish, punchy, and doesn't waste your time. So if you want something chill but still satisfying, this one hits the mark.
A fallen hunter.
The Ascent. Now, this game is basically Diablo with guns. Twin-stick shooting, loot, and leveling up in a cyberpunk world. The story? Completely forgettable. You'll probably zone out halfway through the first cutscene and never look back. But the visuals? Absolutely stunning, especially on a big screen. And yes, it's fun solo, but way better with friends. The chaos, the explosions, the over-the-top effects, it all just clicks better in co-op. Loot drops are solid, progression feels good, and the whole thing is polished. So yeah, not deep, not emotional, just loud, pretty, and satisfying to shoot through. The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing, Final Cut. Alright, now, this is the full package. Final Cut combines all three Van Helsing games into one seamless experience. No clunky transitions between titles. It's just one long unified adventure with all the content baked in. In this game, you get decent character building, plenty of skills to mess around with, and some light charm thanks to the banter between Van Helsing and his ghostly companion. Also, expect tons of pop culture references, quirky humor, and a story that kinda exists. Anyway, it's not the greatest ARPG out there, but it's okay-ish, and it goes on sale all the time. Dungeon Siege 2. Now, the first game was all about that old school hack and slash grind, but this one cranked things up a notch. Suddenly you've got skill trees, combat abilities, and an item system that actually makes looting feel exciting instead of just busy work. So, yeah, it's still the same classic vibe, just with more meat on the bones, more choices, more build variety, and more reasons to keep playing at 3 AM. So, if you enjoyed the original but wanted something with a bit more depth, this one takes the formula and makes it shine. Last Epoch. If Path of Exile makes your brain melt and Diablo feels too dumbed down, Last Epoch is sitting right in the sweet spot. It's one of the best ARPGs for casual players who still want some depth. The build system is complex enough to keep you hooked, but not so overwhelming that you need a 200-page wiki and a Discord mentor just to get started. Moreover, the loot drops feel rewarding. The skill trees give you plenty of ways to experiment, and the pace never gets too grindy. Simply put, it's easy to pick up but hard to put down. Chronicon. Okay, nobody expected this game to blow up like it did. The devs clearly didn't plan for stuff like HD textures or online multiplayer, and honestly, that's fine. So what we got instead is a clean, retro pixel ARPG that's way more addictive than it has any right to be. And sure, the endgame can get a bit repetitive, but finding full gear sets and crafting builds that scale into godlike power with the right skills never gets old. And even with just local co-op, playing with friends, assuming you have any, is still legit tons of fun. Diablo II Resurrected. Now, this one's eternal. You'll be playing it for the rest of your life, even if it's just a nostalgic weekend every year. This game takes the classic and gives it a fresh coat of paint, but the core remains the same. Addictive loot, brutal combat, and a world dripping with atmosphere. And just so you know, this is the entry where Blizzard really nailed the story. The tone, the world building, and the character arcs are unmatched. No other Diablo captures that dark, gothic vibe better. So yeah, it's not just worth playing today, it's the best Diablo experience, period. Torchlight. Alright, the first Torchlight feels like Diablo 1's younger cousin, same straightforward loop, just with mines instead of dungeons. You dive deeper and deeper, floor after floor, smashing enemies and scooping up loot. It's simple, it's addictive, and it still has that just one more run magic. But now, let's be honest, the second game is the real standout. Torchlight 2 improves on just about everything. Still, that doesn't mean the original isn't worth your time. Even today, it's still a fun, fast-paced ARPG that delivers exactly what it promises, which is clean dungeon-crawling action without any unnecessary fluff. Grim Dawn. Now, this is one of the most talked about ARPGs right now, and for good reason. Grim Dawn feels like a proper old-school ARPG, but packed to the brim with modern polish and content. It's complete, no half-baked systems, no shady cash shops, just pure gameplay. The loot rains down in glorious explosions, the depth unfolds at a perfect pace, and the addition of factions and choices gives it way more weight than most games in the genre. So yeah, if you want everything an ARPG should offer, then this is the game for you. V Rising. Okay, some people argue that this game isn't a real ARPG, but if you look at it from the right angle, it absolutely counts. Here, you've got progression tied directly to combat through the V Blood system, loot that changes how you play, and a character that grows stronger as you grind through bosses and resources. That's ARPG DNA, plain and simple. On top of that, the base building and crafting make it stand out from the usual dungeon crawlers. So yeah, think of it as an ARPG in survival gear, and suddenly it all makes sense. Dungeon Siege. Now, one of the best things about Dungeon Siege is how much freedom it gives you. There are no fixed classes, no strict party setups, you just play how you want. Want to solo the whole game? You can. Want a full team with a tank, an archer, and a mage? Go for it. You can even roll with a pack of mules if that's your vibe. And the game gets pretty easy once you know how it works, so the real fun comes from spicing it up, like running only archers or only mages. So yeah, this is for hardcore players. Path of Exile. Alright, now this game is widely considered as the best ARPG out there today. Think of it as the Red Dead Redemption 2 of this genre, massive in scope, insanely detailed, and almost intimidating in how much content it throws at you. It's got the deepest skill tree you'll ever see, leagues that constantly refresh the game, and a loot system that's basically its own addiction. But here's the catch, don't make this your first ARPG. If you do, everything else you play after will feel watered down. This is endgame level title. Once you're hooked, nothing else compares. Torchlight 2. Okay, this game is really good, like suspiciously good for something that isn't Diablo. If you've played Diablo 2, you'll feel right at home here. The gameplay hits all the right notes, the loot grind is satisfying, and the skill trees are interesting enough to keep you tinkering. But, let's be honest, the real magic happens once you start modding. The base game is solid, sure, but mods crank it up 1,000 times better. And just like every great ARPG, you can pour thousands of hours into it without ever knowing what the story's about.
Believed it would end like this.
Diablo 3. Alright, let's not kid ourselves, this game was designed to be easy. And sure, hardcore purists love to scream that it's bad, but for the right audience, it's brilliant. It's simple, polished, and fun the second you start clicking. The loot pops, the combat flows, and everything feels rewarding without needing a PhD in spreadsheets. Play it for an hour, you'll have fun. Play it for 1,000, you'll still have fun. You can dive deep and min-max your way to sweaty competitiveness, or you can stay casual forever. Simply put, this game lets you play at your own pace. Diablo IV. Right now, this is the hottest Diablo game and honestly, maybe the hottest ARPG for the mainstream crowd, of course. And that's no accident. Diablo IV was built to be mainstream. The world is huge, the combat is smooth, and the loot cycle is satisfying. And sure, hardcore players will roll their eyes and say it's too simple, but that's missing the point. For anyone just getting into the genre, this is one of the best starting points you could ask for. It's polished, accessible, and addictive from the very first hour. So yeah, for newcomers, this is the gateway drug.
They're armored.
Hades. Yeah, I know. Hades isn't a traditional ARPG. It's technically an action roguelite, but it's dripping with ARPG DNA. The loot, the builds, the progression, it all scratches that same itch. That's why it's controversial to put it here, but leaving it out would be criminal. In this game, every run feels fresh. The combat is lightning fast and the character interactions make dying over and over actually fun. The build variety is also insane, with boons stacking into wild synergies. So, if you're willing to step outside the classic ARPG box and try something non-traditional, Hades will blow your mind. Diablo. This wasn't the very first isometric hack-and-slash RPG, but it's the one that changed everything. Diablo popularized and defined the entire genre. It nailed the formula: dark atmosphere, endless loot, dungeon crawling, and that addictive loop of diving deeper and deeper into hell. And yeah, it's old. The graphics are dated, the controls are clunky, and compared to modern ARPGs, it feels stripped down. But none of that matters. Without Diablo, there wouldn't be Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, or even Diablo II. So yes, this is where the legend began, and it still deserves a spot here. So do you agree with our picks? Check out these other videos from us and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.